Kristen Kish, Tom Colicchio, Gail Simmons. You're judging the 21st season of Top Chef, which takes place in Wisconsin. Kristen, let's start with you. How did the opportunity come to host the show? And what did you think about that opportunity to kind of fill Padma's shoes after she left?
Well, it came by way of a phone call that I was really surprised to receive. It was a call saying, would you like to have some meetings? They want to talk to you about potentially hosting the show. And I flew to LA, had a series of meetings. And then a couple weeks later, I got a call that said, you are Top Chef host. And then that was it. It kind of all happened very quickly, but I'm sure on the back end, there was a lot of planning and organization. But from my end, it certainly went very quickly.
And Tom and Gail, how's it been working with Kristen? This, has it changed the dynamic than things were with Padma? Has it refreshed the show in a way?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I think, everyone brings their own personality and their own meaning to it and makes it their own just by being who they are. And obviously we'll miss Padma, and she made 19 amazing seasons with us, but this was a chance for a refresh, and Kristen takes on her own role as a host. And I think it's been great. It wasn't as if we were bringing on a stranger who had to get up to speed. And right. I think that's the beauty of it.
Right. Yeah, it was seamless. I mean, we knew Kristen from when she competed, and she did really well. And she had been a guest judge for a couple of years. And so it's just absolutely just natural. Just felt great.
And the show taking place in Wisconsin this season. What about the Wisconsin culinary scene stuck out to you and excited you for this season?
Well, I think that what we realized when we got there was that we haven't actually focused on the Midwest very much over the course of 21 seasons, and it allowed us to do that. We were in Chicago in season 4, but that was 15 years ago at this point. And Midwest has changed so much, and it's very different than just Chicago on its own. It felt great. It was definitely a different feeling coming off of London and Paris. It was nice to come back to America and to a really sort of like beautiful community. Milwaukee and Madison are relatively small cities that we could really get into, learn about interesting immigrant pathways and indigenous foodways, a lot of amazing agriculture, great products and produce. We had a lot of fun.
All that to say there's a lot more than cheese.
Yes.
And I will say the people of Milwaukee, all during filming and even now as we're getting closer to premiere, are some of the most outstanding Top Chef fans. And they're just so thrilled that we're there. And it's been incredibly supportive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the highlight, we shot in Madison. And if you go to a city and they have a great farmer's market, there's usually a good food culture. And I have to say, they had an outstanding farmer's market. The one little quirk is it was around the Capitol, which was kind of spectacular. It's a very large block, and everybody has to walk in one direction. You can't go against the grain.
And it was packed, middle of August.
Packed. Yeah, so it was really great being there.
And welcoming a new crop of contestants every season. Does it take a lot to surprise you? Or does everyone bring kind of a unique point of view that surprises and entertains in new ways?
I think that the best thing about the show is not only do we change locations every season, but that every season allows us to be surprised by the chefs. Every chef has their own story, right? Their own heritage and origin, the reason they cook the way they cook. And that's, I think, what the show's about more than anything else, is telling those stories, learning about them through their food and their point of view. And so no people are alike, the same way that we rarely eat a dish more than once. Even the same concept made by a different chef tastes completely different. And that's why we never get bored. I feel like that's what allows us to just keep it fresh every season.
And is it challenging to eat that much food in a short period of time when you're judging any given challenge? It seems like that in and of itself would be kind of something to deal with.
I coming into it, because I had never done it before for that length of time. Like I would come in, try some dishes, and then I would depart as a guest judge. But being my first season where I get to eat everything, I think I had a conversation with Gail early on. And I was like, Gail, like, any tips? What do we got? Like, how do you do this? And I have a really big appetite and I can eat a lot of food. But she told me to eat breakfast in the morning. And really, at the end of the day, when you think about it, it's not a hard task. You're
not eating 17 full plates of food.
Yeah.
A couple bites of everything.
Yeah, it also depends on the challenge. But it's not as bad as it looks. But there is a cumulative effect. By the end of the season, you're kind of burnt out.
You need a vegetable.
Yeah, you need a salad. You need something. Yeah, you need a cleanse. That's what you need. Yeah.
It's a lot over time, but I think that we learn to taste and we're really excited by the food. I mean, that's the beauty of being alive, right? You eat a great meal and 4 hours later, you're hungry again, no matter what. And so every time we sat down to a new challenge, I was excited to taste it. And I was reinvigorated just by what we were going to be given, what was put in front of us, because there were so many exciting cooks and so many great things that we forced them to do.
And you bring on, a number of exciting guest judges every season, and people, to dine with you and taste all the food. Have you guys ever get starstruck by people who come on the show, people you've gotten to meet over the course of the series?
The only time I was starstruck is when we were shooting in Chicago and Gail Simmons was on the set. That was a little stuff being starstruck. Actors, no, not so much, but. Gail Simmons was he was such an incredible running back, and then he got an injury that kind of cut his career short, and so that was special.
I got starstruck in season 5 when the Foo Fighters were on the show. That was like a real moment where I remember we were having the chefs cook them a Thanksgiving dinner for them and their crew, their roadies.
In toaster ovens.
In toaster ovens in the bowels of a stadium they were about to perform a concert in, and we were walking from the meal to the concert, and I was walking with Dave Grohl, and he looked at me and he was like, I just can't believe I'm on Top Chef right now. This is so cool. And I barely could respond. I was like, but you're Dave Grohl. Like, I cannot believe that I'm walking beside you. That was a pretty great moment.
And the season, there's a bit of a change this season in that you're giving out immunity from the elimination challenge instead of from the quick fire. How is it changing things from season to season? Just like little changes here and there, keeping the contestants on their toes. Does it keep you guys on your toes also?
I think it actually keeps the viewing audience on their toes. Because that's the great thing about the show is the producers from the very beginning, we don't get stuck on this is how we do it and that's it. There's no formula. I'll go back into the Chicago season. We were sitting at a stoop after there was a block party and we had just finished eating, and we were told not to discuss food. We wanted to keep it fresh for judges' table. So we were sitting at a stoop and we started talking, and we're all mic'd up still so they hear us. And they came over and said, can you stop? And we're like, just bring a camera over here and shoot this. And they did, and that changed it from saying pretty much the same thing 3 times at judges' table to at least doing a recap right after we ate, and that changed it up. But every season we're always changing things, and it's not even for the sake of changing. It's just we think there's a better way to do things, and so it's great to have a team, especially with a show that has been on for 21 years. That it's I think a lot of producers would say this is the formula, we stick to it, that's it, and it gets stale, and so it's great for us because it keeps us on our toes. It keeps the contestants on their toes, but I also think it's really great for the audience.
What's your favorite thing about judging this show and being a part of this culinary pop culture engine that the show has been?
I think having a different perspective this year, one of the greatest honors that I have had this year was to see the progression of all the chefs through the entirety of the season. So I've never sat in this vantage point where I've gotten to watch the whole thing and be a part of the whole thing and experience all the chefs and all their food. Competing, it's one experience. Coming to guest judge, you come in, you come out, but this, to really watch the arc of individual people doing what they love, was a really fantastic place to sit.
I just think there's so much talent in this country, and that's what the show allows us to do, is that every season it's about the stories of these chefs. It's not really about us. It's not about our opinions, we try to just be the taste buds of the viewers and be constructive so that they can get better. Our goal is to eat as well as we possibly can, right? So I think it's amazing to see all of the chefs over 21 seasons, how far they've all come, how they are now leaders in the industry, and how they've really come so far and done so much with this platform we've given them. It's remarkable. I also love that we've traveled the country, because that allows us a different backdrop to change it up every single season and to discover more and tell stories about so many different parts of America, because the food of Milwaukee is totally different than the food of obviously any of the other cities we've been before. And that is a lot for us to learn in each episode or in each season as well.
Right. So besides getting to work with these two wonderful women,
obviously,
it's great that we're able to in some way mentor the chefs who come on the show. We're giving them a lot of feedback, a lot of constructive criticism. And if you think about it, there's 6 to 7 cameras shooting 14 hours a day, and it takes 2 days to shoot an episode. You're seeing 48 minutes of that. So there's a lot of feedback that we're giving that hits the editing room floor. And towards the end of the season, we hear the chefs start to say, they become grateful for it. And at the end of the season, a lot of them say it really changed the way I look at food, and they thank us for that. So, there seems to be this adversarial relationship that we have with the chefs, and it's really not true. I think the drama to create drama on the show, it has to feel that way. But we're there to support them, and we're there to give them really honest feedback. And if you're doing anything and you get that kind of criticism and feedback day after day after day, you start seeing a pattern and you start paying attention to it. And I think the proof in the pudding is how many careers were launched. Not that we're responsible for launching those careers, but who came through Top Chef. So it's a testament to the casting. We cast great chefs, and then they go on to win awards and open multiple restaurants. And so we're really proud of that.
On the show, what the viewers see is very much of like giving feedback about certain dishes, saying what was right, what worked, what didn't work. But having been on the receiving end of the mentorship and the information and the feedback, it is a conversation when you're at judges' table. Like, as the chef standing there, it's not that you are allowed to ask, or you're allowed to disagree, or find exactly the place that you need to feel settled in whatever is being said. So like it is a conversation. It's not just people talking at people.
Right.
And the show has been to so many places around the country. Is there anywhere that the show hasn't been that you'd be especially excited to go, or is it season by season you're just kind of excited to see where it brings you?
There's a lot of places we could still go, both here and obviously abroad. Like, if we could go anywhere, I would love to do a season in Tokyo. I'd love to do a season in Rome. We could go around the world, but even in America, I think that there's just so much to discover, and we've scratched the surface of a lot of places, but we've still never been to Georgia. We've never been to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Yes, we were in Wisconsin, but there is an entire Midwest kind of south of that, and even down into the Southwest. We've touched on Arizona, but it's a massive country, and every hamlet, every nook and cranny has its own traditions and food culture. So it's sort of endless, I think.
Yeah, I want to do outer boroughs in New York. Stay out of Manhattan. I mean, I'm being selfish. I live in Brooklyn, so it'd be great to sleep in my own bed.
Here.
So there's that. Yeah.
Well, if you do that, you can invite me, because I live in the Bronx. So that would be perfect.
Right.
That would be great.
That or New Jersey. Jersey would be. That. I'm from New Jersey. So.
I want to thank you guys so much for talking with me about the show. Looking forward to the season, and it's been a pleasure chatting.
Thank you
so
much.
Thanks.